What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Today it's all about crankbaits. So I did the last segment on jerk baits, and you guys seem to enjoy it pretty well. And I don't pretend to be an expert in anything, but I've got a lot of techniques and tactics that I use that work really well all over the place. So if you take a bit and piece here and there and put that to work on your lake and it works for you, then I guess that's all that I can ask for. So in today's segment, we're going to talk about crankbaits, and really 4 in particular that I really like throwing specifically in the fall. One that's a little non-traditional. When the water gets colder, you want something that's going to wobble a little bit tighter, and one of these doesn't really do that. It's got a little bit of a wider wobble, but they really seem to like it. And that's the Vicious Fishing. This is the MC65. And you'll see in the first clip, this one put a really quality fish in the boat. Now, I didn't catch a lot of fish on this particular crankbait, but the fish I caught were big ones. You look at this and it's got a really nice flat sides, but it's got a nice big bill. And it really hunts well when it gets down there on the bottom. You can see that lip is just torn up. And that's what you want. You want to get it down there and just bang it off the rocks and do its thing. One of the other ones I want to talk a little bit about is the RC series, the Hail Mary. This is one of the Ricky Clum series lipless crankbaits. And I'm going to pop it out of the package. I have a million of these. These guys have been an awesome partner this year. And they're going to fuel a lot of giveaways, so I'm going to give away a bunch of these. I think this one's in 3/4 ounce. Yeah, 3/4 ounce. So this is a 3/4 ounce Hail Mary. You can see it's a lipless crankbait. It's got a really, really wide profile at the front, so it's kind of your non-typical lipless. What I really like about this particular one, and the way that they've designed it, is the bodies on these, whether it's a 1/4 ounce, I think it's a 1/4 or a 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce, or a full ounce, the bodies are all the same. All they do is adjust the weight size in that head, and that's why that's so wide. You can hear it's got a really nice knock. And so when you think about fishing these, a lot of times in the fall, you're going to yo-yo these, right? Pull it up, kind of let it do its thing, pull it up, let it do its thing, maybe a real slow retrieve. But the beauty of these is the rate of descent. So you take your 1/2 ounce and it's a slow descent, 3/4 ounce, medium descent, and then the 1 ounce is a faster descent. So you can really control these well, depending on what column of the water you're fishing, right? This one is, what color is this? Code Red. I think it's a really great fall color. I just love that red, that big orangish red belly. Really nice profile, beautiful action. One of my favorite lipless. One of the other ones I really like is an American Originals by Lucky Strike. This is the Smoothie, and it's a really another good color for the fall, and it's called Paradise Shad. So it's kind of like that citrus shad, sexy shad type of a color. What I like about this is a really narrow bill, relatively flat sides, and a really nice tight wobble. Smallmouth, I'm telling you, eat this thing up. My favorite smallmouth color is a color called Chili Bowl. It's kind of similar to this. I don't have any left, but it's a great color. But this is just an awesome profile. Dives about 5 feet-ish. You can get it to go down to about 8, but 5 feet is kind of a sweet spot. But another really good fall crankbait. And then one of my favorites, and this is starting to make a little bit of a comeback. I saw a couple of pros do videos on this, and I love this particular crankbait for the fall. And more people are starting to use it. It's the RC2, the Ricky Clun Little Tiny Square Bill. This one is the Ricky Clun Classic. This color is Blue Racer. I've got these in a bunch of different colors. But small little square bills like this in the fall, man, especially when you're fishing like rock and riprap, I think it's a really hard thing to beat. You know, they're not eating real big stuff generally, especially here when that water gets down into like the 40s. They want something small and easy, and you can pull this down through, pause it. It kind of suspends in there when you got these bigger hooks on it. And it's just an easy target for them, and it's a quick, small meal. One of the best fall crankbaits, in my opinion, that you can throw. I probably said that about all of these, but I really mean it when I say it with this one. I think this is a really hard square bill to beat in the fall. Nice wobble. You know, the bill isn't too wide, so it's going to come through pretty tight. A lot like a fish would, or a bait fish would in the wintertime. You know, when that water cools way down, they don't have all that erratic action that they have in the summer months. You know, they're real tight to each other and just not running all over the place acting crazy. So, you know, those are kind of my 4 staple go-tos. Some kind of small square bill like that. A good lipless. If anybody wants more information on these, let me know. The smoothie, again, a nice slim profile, tight wobble. And then something that's a little bit more aggressive. May not pick you up as many bites, but when you do, it's generally a bigger, more aggressive fish when they do eat it. So, yeah, that's kind of my 4 go-tos. So now I'm going to walk you through this first part of the video. Basically what I'm doing here is working these rock banks. I've got the boat right now in about, I don't know, about 6 feet of water. And there's a little point that comes out right where the boat's sitting right now. And then it's just rock all the way down. I really like to parallel the banks, right? So when you think about fishing productive water in the fall, it's all about maximizing boat position. One of those ways you can do that is to parallel the bank, right? So I identified that the fish are sitting somewhere around in that 6 to 8 foot depth, right? And so I want to keep whatever I'm throwing in that depth zone as long as I possibly can. And by keeping your boat parallel to the bank, you can keep it in that section of water where it's most productive the entire time that you're fishing, right? Now, I'm not saying you can't back off the bank and make casts to it and pull it back. I'm just saying you're spending a lot of time in water that's not necessarily as productive as if you're working the bank parallel, keeping it in that strike zone the longest you can, right? And you can see this is a pretty big one here. This is probably 4.5 pounds. I had a heck of a time getting him unpinned. The hooks on these on this MC65, which is what I'm throwing right now, they're really sharp, sticky hooks. I don't know who they use. I actually got this out of, what boxes come? One of my Monster Bass boxes. And that was the very first time I threw it. I think it was probably one of the first or second casts that I had with it. So, yeah, it proved to be pretty lethal. This spot here is another sneaky good spot. You can see right back to my left there, there's a boat launch. In the fall, this area loads up pretty hard with both largemouth and smallmouth. And as it turns out, a ton of walleye as well. But, you know, there's 2 rock piles. In the middle of the rock pile is an open spot of water. It only gets about 2.5 to 3 feet deep. And they load up in there in the mornings and the evenings. Off and on throughout the day too, but mornings and the evenings. The color I'm throwing is a lot similar to the smoothie. But what I'm throwing right now is a DT10 in that same sexy shad, citrus shad color. I ended up losing that stupid crankbait at some point, but That's another hard one to beat, especially during these fall months. Is that DT series crankbait? Really nice wobble, balsa. You just can't beat it as far as action and productivity. But I'm basically throwing up into, I don't know, and I know I'm throwing a 10-foot diving crankbait, but I really want to bang it into these rocks. So I'm throwing it up into about 2 feet of water. And then where my boat's sitting, it's probably 6 or 8 feet. And I'm just wrapping all those rocks on the way through. And you'll see me kind of hit the bottom and just kind of stop it a little bit sometimes and kind of pull it along. This is the other side of that rock now. And again, throwing it just off all these little points. You can see it kind of comes to a little point there. And they just sit right on the ends of those points and just wait for something to come across. There's another good largemouth. Again, all these fish I caught, including that first one that I showed you, I caught within the first 45 minutes of being out there. It was cold. It was about 20 degrees. Water was, I think when I got there, it was 38, 39 degrees, warmed up to about 42, 43. And normally, you may not throw a lot of, aggressive power fishing type of lures like a crankbait. But again, it's knowing the area that you're fishing, right? And me understanding the activities and the patterns of these fish during the fall gives me a little bit better ability to figure out, okay, I can throw this or I can throw this, and I know what they're going to do. So this next one, I'm coming up on another point. I'm just on the other side of just where I was. And I had just had one take a swipe at it a few minutes ago. And so I figured I'd give it a couple more shots at him to see if I couldn't get him to bite. And I think this is where I picked a walleye up. When you think about retrieve during the fall, it's a lot like fishing a jerkbait, right? You kind of vary it, and slow, quick. What you want to do is get it down to the bottom. So you always want to make sure you're throwing something that dives about a foot deeper than the water you're actually fishing, right? So if you're fishing 10 feet, throw something that dives 12. If you're fishing 8 feet, throw something that dives 10. You really want it down there banging off those rocks. During the wintertime, they're going to sit down there at the bottom. The water's a little bit warmer down there, and they just kind of sit down there and wallow a little bit. Yeah, this was that walleye. Pretty much everything was eating this crankbait, this DT series crankbait. And yes, the walleyes come home. They go in my belly. My wife would never forgive me if I threw a walleye back in the lake. So now we're coming back to the spot where I caught that bigger one. Throwing that same DT series crankbait again. And now we start getting into a few smallmouth. And, the smallmouth are crazy anyways. And I think pound for pound, they're one of the best fighting fish, freshwater fish there is. But you'll notice a lot of times, especially on lakes out here, that they're so non-committal sometimes that they will follow it all the way to the boat before they eat it. And I think on one of these, one of them ate it right dead at the boat. Yeah, that was another good, I think that was a good smallmouth there. Yeah. Big old fat belly. Just beautiful fish. And a blast to catch. And that's the beauty of this area down here. You're going to get kind of a mixed bag when you're fishing all these rocks and riprap. You're going to pick up some walleye. You're going to pick up some smallmouth, some largemouth. And you can really have a fun day. Now, if you look straight ahead of me there, it kind of comes out to a point. Well, there's a little flat that comes up there. And, when the water's down as low as it is right here, it's probably down. You can see kind of at the top of that rock wall there where the water normally is. See, like that one hit it right at the boat. It extends out into a big flat. There's like 4.5 feet of water right there. And they love sitting off the end of that ledge. And then in the mornings, they'll sit on top there and eat top water really well, even when the water's 45 or 50 degrees. And this one came right off that flat. Another big, I think it was another big largemouth. Just sitting on the end of that flat. You know, this weekend and then the weekend prior to this one were probably my two best weekends that I've had on the water in a long time. And it's awesome when you can take, you know, a friend out there or somebody that just wants to go fishing, one of my subscribers, and pretty much just call your shot, you know exactly what you need to do, know where the fish are sitting, how they're staged, and just catch them. Heck of a day. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned a little something anyways. Feel free to drop any comments, questions you have down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm getting more and more obsessed with my analytics of the channel, right? So I've got 623 subscribers, I think, right now. 27% of my views are coming from subscribers, and a little over 70% of my views are coming from non-subscribers. So if you're one of those that hasn't hit the subscribe button yet, let me know what I got to do to gain you as a subscriber. I'd love to answer any questions you have. I could always use help for content, things you guys want to see, things you guys don't want to see, whatever it is. But I do appreciate all the support thus far. We're on our way, folks. We're getting there. With your help, we'll keep growing. So we'll see you next time, guys. Tight lines.